Hey, welcome back to MWAD's special hangout today. We were just talking about death pits at Mavs, which sets up the conversation. Dude, we're here with Nic Vaughan, MWAD fan. We're fanboys. You are, well, we've talked to Larry before, but you're the first kind of big wave surfer in our life. Welcome to MWAD Hangout.
Yeah, honored. Thank you.
So we wanted to just grab him today because there are a lot of surfers in our community, right? And you're at the pinnacle of big wave surfing. So like the big invitational at Jaws, that freak show day, you were there.
I was there, yeah.
Like you got to look it up. When was it? It was like
that was December. Early December.
Crazy. Yeah. You guys you're not toning in on that stuff. You're paddling on that stuff.
Paddling in on 11-foot boards. Yeah.
Just 11 feet.
Just 11 feet. Yeah.
Oh my God, like 9 in the back, 2 in the front, something like that, right? So what we want to do is, Nic is a young generation of surfer who has paid attention to nutrition, paying attention to mechanics and position. You're looking at, you have a meditation practice. If you could go back, because there are a bunch of families who are surfers and a bunch of young kids coming up, certainly, and we're seeing sort of the end range pinnacle or the expression of decades of experience in what's happening now. If you could wave a wand over the young kids, what are some of the pieces of advice for these young surfers coming up?
Yeah, you know, I'd start earlier, honestly. I'm 24 years old and I've been focusing on this for maybe 4 or 5 years, and I've noticed a huge difference, you know, surfing longer, surfing better, faster. But I would have started earlier. You know,
started early doing what? What do you mean?
With all those, you know, thinking about diet and exercise and all that, and really instead of just surfing, actually, you know, having a movement practice and focusing on the mechanics of, you know, how am I actually surfing? Because now I'm going back and having to fix old mistakes that are just ingrained, like we've been talking about.
We see in the top end, it seems like every surfer has a guy, right? Every woman has a trainer.
Yeah.
Like, is that important that you have to have a one-on-one, or like when you say movement practice, what does that look like for you?
For me, I mean, that looks like, you know, making sure that I'm doing the stuff beforehand before I paddle out, and, you know, afterwards making sure I'm rolling out and hitting the tight spots with the mobility balls that you've been telling me to focus on. And yeah, no, I mean, I think having you know, just the discipline to, outside of surfing, actually working on those movements and making sure that I'm doing them mechanically correct, I think it's gonna, you know, extend the career and help me perform better, right?
It's hard to think about those things when you're flying down a big face.
It is, yeah.
In fact, you can't.
Yeah, you can't.
That's the point. You do a meditation practice? Is it breathing practice or meditation practice?
Yeah, I do the Wim Hof, sort of like box breathing in the mornings for 10-15 minutes, and then yeah, I do a bit of yoga as well. So
does can you talk about how, because you've seen our evolution, about we become a lot more obsessed with breathing, especially when we started following Wim Hof ourselves, and working with Laird and Brian. Can you talk about how that has changed your surfing?
For me, it's really kind of changed the wipeout, you know, being able to, with the Wim Hof, you know, after you've done some of that heavy oxygenating breathing, you know, you're withstanding that period of time without oxygen, and I've just become more comfortable in that state, and I don't hit the panic button when I'm underwater, or when I come up exhausted. I'm able to do that box breathing and get back to, you know, square one of being able to operate at optimum performance.
That's pretty amazing. Do you think, because my own experience is that, like, when I started this breathing practice, I'm about a year in almost, and when I desaturate on an exhale and hold, and we have an 11-foot pool at our house, right? I literally, like, I get the flinches, the burn, but I have gotten much more comfortable. Like, my brain is like, it's cool, it's cool.
Yeah, it's all mental.
And the other thing that I've noticed, a major difference, I don't know if you speak this, because you just said this, I thought of it, is that if I get one breath again, I've got a minute, no problem. Like, I know I got a minute in the bank, just on a breath.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that makes a difference in being able to go?
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's just being able to come up and reset like that, you know, with one big breath. And then again, yeah, just being comfortable when you're operating with a lack of oxygen. I think it's been the biggest thing for me. Amazing.
You do a lot of flying. How do you manage the flying and then the acrobatic surfing stuff?
Yeah, it's tough, and that's why I came to someone like you who's able to kind of help me get back to a fighting state after a 6-hour flight over to Hawaii, or, you know, flying to Spain. That's like a 12-hour difference. So
what do you do? What are your tricks when you get off the plane? Because there's a bunch of, you know, young kids you get on the tour, you're excited to tour, you get invited to these junior tours, you're traveling, you have no plan to survive. You're just glad to be here, right?
Yeah.
What is it? Do you have some routines or things that you do that make a difference?
Just drinking a ton of water beforehand. I drink like literally drowning myself in water. On the plane, drink as much water as I can, and just make sure I'm eating the right things going into it.
What does that mean? What does it mean, eating like things? What are you doing?
Paleo stuff, yeah. Just doing a lot of grass-fed meats, you know, a lot of lightly sautéed vegetables, and just trying to keep everything very clean. And
do you see that as a trend in the surfing performance? Or are people eating cleaner?
Some of the
it's
top,
not just not pizzas and burritos all the time?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, some of the top guys, and actually I was talking to Shane Dorian out at Jaws, and I was like, have you heard about this this butter coffee thing? And he just totally looked at me with like, wow, you know my secret weapon. So he's actually doing that. I know Ian Walsh drinks a lot of butter coffee. I think John, Mick Fanning, all the, you know, really the top of the echelon guys are starting to play in that field of like really focusing on diet and you know, just trying to get that extra edge, because people are getting so much better these days that you need everything you can.
We have talked to Stephen Kotler, Rise of the Superman, about flow state. Do you have a routine that helps you? I mean, let's be honest. The pinnacle of like apex moment, big consequence potentially, you know, surfing the size of the waves that you're doing. What do you do to get ready for that?
Yeah, for me, I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I sort of had this epiphany that I'm able to better tap into that like elusive flow state when my fitness is where I know it should be. On the days where I kind of have been lacking on the training going into it, I can't get there. And I'm feeling slow getting to my feet, I'm feeling slow getting into waves. But when my fitness is really up where it needs to be, and I've been doing all the mobility work, I'm literally paddling down the face of waves. I feel like I'm getting up and just dancing on waves. And you know, you're able to tap into it a lot easier when you know, you've done all the work prior.
You wave the wand, you say you would start earlier on eating food. Is sleep an important part? Because it seems like there's a big video game culture, tech culture. Do you fall into that?
Absolutely.
What's your sleep like?
Yeah, I've come into realizing how crucial it is to make sure my room's dark. I actually put something over my eyes at night, otherwise I can't sleep. I've become very fickle on that. Yeah, diet and just drinking lots of water, and yeah, it's not like you know, the early days of I think where people were doing a lot of boozing and just kind of having fun and surfing professionally on the side. It's like, no, it's a job now, like we were talking about yesterday. You have to focus on those things if you want to compete with the best guys.
Do you think the seriousness, because we have this conversation we saw sometimes around like slope style on skis, you know, a lot of those guys came out of the very formal bump skiing, right, which was just like Olympic, we're training, and they really lost the joy. Are you able to maintain sort of the embodiment of being an athlete surfer, or has this, because you can surf more and you feel less messed up, or does this lose some of the joy of surfing just by being better prepared?
No, I don't think so at all. I think what's actually more enjoyable for me is performing at, you know, kind of a peak state and seeing myself making waves, surfing, you know, taking off deeper and surfing faster and lower and more explosive.
So it's so big.
It's so big. Those are the things that I'm striving to do, and so no, it definitely doesn't take away from the enjoyment when I'm surfing better.
Nick yesterday was like, hey man, next time we're at Mavs, why don't you jump on the surf ski with me? And I literally had a bad dream about last night. That was inside, I had to hold my breath, and I was like holding on to the seaweed, watching those surf by. And then I woke up and I was like, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine. I'm out there with Nick, it's fine.
It's gonna be fine.
I'll have 17 life jackets on, it'll be totally cool.
Yeah, let's do it.
One of the things that you do well, you do a lot of surfing. How much surfing, because sometimes, let me ask, like for example, Travis Rice, phenomenal snowboarder, has an off season. Do you ever have an off season?
There is an off season. It's much shorter though for us, so we're constantly chasing winters. You know, it's like an endless winter. We just finished up the Northern Hemisphere winter, which is, you know, more storm production. Our off season is really right now. I have about a month, you know, the month of April, and then come you know, late April, early May, the Southern Hemisphere will start to light up, and you know, places like mainland Mexico, South America, South Africa, all those will start to get big winter storms. So, you know, it's not the endless summer for us, it's really the endless winter.
Do you, I know safety's gotten better, your fitness has gotten better, the surfing is getting higher. I mean, I think if we use Jaws as a metaphor for what's possible, we're starting to see what we thought was the apex of surfing a few years ago with Toan.
Yeah.
It's just like there's another level.
Yeah, guys are paddling toe days.
Is there another level? Where's all this going?
I think it's going bigger, deeper, you know, later, and actually surfing the wave like you would a small wave. You know, like look at Shane Dorian. He's out there and he's pulling into these 50, 60 foot barrels and actually taking off deep, late, and pulling up into the tunnel of these things and actually riding them like you would a 6 foot wave. And that's where it's going. You know?
So you obviously are surfing year round. I mean, your home break is in Southern California.
Yep.
You said your number one fave is the Mavs.
The Maverick.
And then, do you do any other sports? What are the things you do to like stay interested physically besides surfing?
I do quite a bit of cycling. Yeah, my parents are really into cycling, and I do that. Do yoga. I actually enjoy long paddles with some of my other buddies that surf
like
big waves.
long paddles on like a sunset on the beach.
Yeah, exactly. Long. Yeah, we hold hands.
Like when you do long paddles, like prone.
Yeah, prone paddle. I'll just take my gun out and paddle that and surf small waves on it and just kind of get comfortable on it.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
You brought us in this amazing box of shades yesterday.
Yeah.
This is your buddy's company. It's called Diff
Eyewear. Yeah. So.
As in like make a dip.
Yeah, make a difference.
Dude, talk about this for a second. Because this is a company you're involved in. We're giving this as a full, like unapologetic plug for a great company. Talk about what Diff is.
So Diff Eyewear, it's started by one of my closest childhood buddies. They provide, not only high-end eyewear, but they've created this charitable aspect to their business, which is just so cool. Every glass that's sold, they actually donate a pair of reading glasses to a charity in Africa, and they sponsor doctors to go into these rural villages and give eyesight tests and distribute the appropriate glass to those who need them. And talk about making a difference, providing the gift of good sight to someone who can now learn to read and educate. And we're just thinking that that's really going to go a long way and foster prosperity in their lives. And it's just something that I really admire they're doing, and just think it's a cool cause to be behind.
Diffeyewear.com.
Diffeyewear.com. DIFF eyewear.com.
Dude. Making the diff. Dude, Nic Vaughan,
Thank you.
We will try to get out to a contest and just ghost you a little bit.
Yeah, let's
get a little behind the scenes. I'll get my little GoPro out and be like, there he is. There goes the building behind him.
Yeah.
Hey man, thanks very much.
Thank
and
you.
we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks guys.